Don't forget to like, subscribe, and punch that bell for notifications.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to DiBella Entertainment and HDNet's Broadway Boxing, presented by the Turning Stone Resort and Casino from the Grand Ballroom at Manhattan Center. This bout is sanctioned by the New York State Athletic Commission. Chairman in attendance tonight, Ron Scott Stevens, from the Grand Ballroom at Manhattan Center. Tonight's fights are promoted by DiBella Entertainment and sponsored by HBO Sports and the Connecticut Defenders, Connecticut's hometown team. This bout is also sanctioned by the IBF as an elimination bout for the #1 ranking in the junior bantamweight division. IBF supervisor in attendance tonight, Lindsay Tucker. The 3 judges scoring this bout on the 10-point must system, Sparkle Lee, Luis Rivera, and Steve Weisfeld. And when the bell rings, the referee in charge of the action, Pete Santiago. And now, 12 rounds of boxing in the bantamweight division. Introducing first to my left, fighting out of the blue corner, he's wearing black trunks, weighing in officially at 118 pounds. His professional record consists of 39 wins, 11 losses, and 3 draws. 13 wins coming by way of knockout from Tijuana, Mexico, RICARDO Chapo Vargas. And his opponent fighting out of the red corner, his trunks are patterned. Weighing in officially at 118 pounds, his professional record consists of 18 wins and just 1 loss, 15 wins coming by way of knockout from Johannesburg, South Africa, Silence African Spice Mabuza.
All right, let's go.
Test.
I'm going to explain to you. Talk to you guys, both of you guys in the corners, okay? Yo hablé con ustedes en la esquina, en el cuarto de ustedes, okay? Yeah. Explain that the New York State Athletic Commission rules, okay? In the locker room, okay? I would like to clean fight, watch the head, and watch the low blows. Expliqué la instrucción en la esquina también, ¿verdad? En el cuarto. Se quiere una pelea limpio, okay? Okay, shake hands. Good luck.
So we're set for the IBF Bantamweight Eliminator. Silence Mabuza, raised by his mother and grandmother in South Africa. RICARDO VARGAS, 388 rounds as a professional. He's only been stopped twice in his career, and that was way back in 1992. Alejandro Landeros and a real good fighter, Enrique Jupiter, stopped him in the 5th round. Mabuza stopped in his last bout, cuts. That's the only time he has been stopped.
All you have to know about Vargas, Bob, when Jonny Tapia was undefeated, I thought Vargas was beating him. There was a clash of heads. The fight went to the cards after 8 rounds, and it was a technical draw. But that's how good Vargas is, that he was able to go with Jonny Tapia, and Jonny Tapia's prime.
Vargas got dropped in the 6th round of that fight, cut badly in the 7th. The scores 68-64, and then a pair of 66s. Thus the draw.
With Silence Mabuza, I know his trainer, Nick Durant, trainer and manager, Nick Durant, real well. Had a chance to spend some time with him in Michigan. He trains all his fighters to be boxers first. But a lot of his fighters turn out to be aggressive boxers.
Nick Durant says Silence Mabuza is the best fighter he's ever worked with, and that's saying a lot because Nick Durant's really the top trainer in South Africa.
Hey, he's worked with Hawk Makapula, Oyane Bungu, Philip Ndu. Pretty good stance to give Mabuza.
A little bit of a slow start here, Bob, and I think the reason it's slower than we expected is Vargas is usually kind of a pressure fighter, not a big puncher, but an aggressive guy, and he's moving around a lot right now.
Twice, Vargas has challenged for the title. The aforementioned loss last year to Marquez, and back in 1993 against Jorge Julio, lost a 12-round majority decision for the WBA Bantamweight Championship.
Yeah, this guy's tried to become a champion for a long time, and if he doesn't win this fight, I don't think he's ever going to get there.
He's 34 years old. This is his 54th bout. Feeling out process here.
You can't gauge much by what happens at the weigh-ins because a lot of boxers have different styles. But yesterday, Vargas weighed in.
Time.
Get a timeout.
Yes, silence.
Time in, box.
A little extra Vaseline. And, you know, he was 2 pounds overweight, had to lose the weight, but it looked like, I mean, a stiff wind would have blown him over. And maybe he was just trying to conserve his energy.
Well, I guess that's the age-old argument. Is it better for him to have that 24 hours to rehydrate or not? Right now he looks lively. We'll see if this goes 12, whether he looks lively in rounds 11 and 12. Mabuza's been here in the country for 2 weeks.
Final seconds of a nondescript first round. So 1 round in the books for Silence Mabuza and Ricardo Vargas. Let's listen to Nick Durant in the corner of Silence Mabuza.
Listen, he's running quite a bit. All the smoke, he's running quite a bit. Right. More water. You got to close that gap, bro. You got to close that gap. Mark to that gap. Get closer to him now. Stiff jab, but get the shoulder in there. Okay? And my bro is catching with his left. Keep his right hand up here. Keep the right hand up. Okay. So.
Round number 2 underway. Silence Mabuza and Ricardo Vargas. Vargas in the black trunks. His nickname Chapo. Down one side, you see across the front of the waistband it says Roman, that's his son. Down one of the sides of his trunks it says Sally, that's his wife. So he's well represented. Got the family well represented on the trunks with Tijuana, his hometown, on the back.
The first round was a little surprising to me. I thought Vargas would come forward. Right now he's still in boxing mode. And I don't think Mabuza is as effective when he has to make the fight as when he can be a little bit more of a boxer.
You know, you look at it as a feeling out round, a throwaway round. But if this fight's to go the distance and it's a pretty close fight, that first round, depending on what you saw, Steve, you kind of leaned a little bit toward Mabuza. I gave it an even round. I don't think anybody did anything. But
yeah, you're right. I mean, you know.
Those are the kind of rounds, though, that can win a fight for you.
Sure.
It's like in baseball, you know. Games in April count the same as the games in September.
That's right.
You don't think about it because there's 162 of them. But suddenly when you lose a division by 1 game, you say, man, those 2 games we wasted in April against that cellar dweller killed us.
But see, what I see here, Vargas is actually dictating the pace. He's dictating the fight. And that's why I scored the first round for him. I thought he did things that was uncustomary. Most Mexican fighters are head first, aggressive. I thought he changed the pattern there, and he confused Mabuza somewhat.
Vargas is not a huge puncher. 14 knockouts in 53 trips to the ring. He's coming off a knockout win against just a busy fight in Mexico.
He actually had 34 of his 53 bouts in Mexico.
So much movement from Vargas. It'll be very interesting to see if this is just temporary or if he's going to try to fight the whole fight this way. It's kind of an in and out style.
I think it's temporary, Steve. I think around round 6, round 7, 8, he's going to step it up and start being more aggressive.
Who's controlling the tempo of this round?
I like Vargas. I think Vargas is dictating the pace.
2 rounds in the books, scheduled for 12.
Time.
So round number 2 done. You like what Vargas is doing so far?
I do. Personally, I do. I think he's changed the pattern of the norm. He's boxing right now, getting a little rhythm, and I can see him stepping it up as the rounds go on.
Steve, your thoughts?
Well, one thing to consider, perhaps he's worried about stamina. You know, he did struggle to make weight, and maybe by minimizing the exchanges, he feels he has a better chance of going 12 good rounds.
Good point.
Brian, explain how you feel he's controlling the tempo. Even though Mabuza landed a couple of crisp shots there, what's Vargas doing?
Well, Vargas is having Silence follow him around.
Blade up.
And that's controlling.
Back for the belt. Blade up. In and out, 3-4 punches at a time.
Round number 3, getting set to start. Referee Pete Santiago wants the corner cleared from Mabuza.
Guys, gotta get out of the corner quicker, right? Guys, let's get out of the corner a little quicker. Okay? Thank you. Time in.
Pete runs a tight ship.
Pete Santiago taking charge. It's an in and out style here for Vargas right now. He'll jump in with a jab, jump out, jump back in with a hook.
I'm a little worried about Butts, the way he jumps in and out. If Mabuza happens to become a forward at the same time, these guys are going to clash heads, and they've both been cut in the past. It wouldn't surprise me if it happens again.
You can see how Mabuza would cut. He's got those high cheekbones. He would be susceptible to cuts underneath the eyes, which are obviously not nearly as dangerous, but you get a lot of swelling.
Well, he took 9 stitches over the right eye from that Marquez fight, and that was roughly 6 months ago.
I like the jab that Vargas is throwing. An off-beat rhythm jab.
Ooh, nice right hand by Vargas. Steve, if you're Mabuza, Brian, if you're Mabuza, what do you have to do to change this tempo? Vargas has it going the way he wants, stylistically.
Well, for starters, stop following the guy around. Cut the ring work. Cut the ring, work the body. And get the jab going. Right there, nice double jab and right hand.
I don't think Mabuza needs to change anything because I think he's in control. Maybe he's not controlling tempo, but I think he's landing the better shots.
That's what makes this sport so difficult to judge. You've got 2 guys sitting next to me who see it differently.
And we have the same vantage point.
Right.
It's also what, you know, your preference is. Some guys fancy technicians. Other guys fancy the heavier hitter. There's a right hand as Vargas was going back. Seems as if Mabuza stepped up the power a little bit in his punches here in round 3.
I agree, Bob, and I think he's the harder hitter.
I think he had to because of the movement that Vargas was giving him.
Here's the butt.
And it may have Vargas Silence for a minute.
Mabuza's got the high cheekbones, Bob, and Vargas has the protruding forehead. So something's going to give, I think.
Final 10 seconds of round number 3. Scheduled 12-rounder. It's an IBF bantamweight eliminator. Silence Mabuza and Ricardo Vargas.
Chapo.
Kind of got the feeling in round number 3 that Mabuza sort of stepped up the intensity level a little bit. We have some video to illustrate it.
Action from round 3. Mabuza throws nice, quick punches. It doesn't look like he's loading up But you see the right hand there landed because the jab preceded it. And he doesn't stand still after he punches. He moves his head, moves his feet. I just think he's a real technically sound fighter. This is later in round 3. Vargas landed some right hands of his own. And Mabuza definitely the aggressor now. That's been established.
We'll see how the 4th round unfolds. Round number 4 underway in this bantamweight IBF eliminator. Silence Mabuza and RICARDO VARGAS. No knockdowns so far in the bout. Even pace bout. And here's referee Pete Santiago. Wants the glove checked out.
Oh, no mouthpiece.
Oh, no mouthpiece. You need 2 in New York, and he had none. Hey, we're joined at ringside by Paulie Malignaggi.
Is that who that is?
He'll be playing the big stage at Madison Square Garden. How's it going, Paulie?
I'm good, man. How's everything going with you guys?
You excited about the fight?
I'm very excited. I can't wait to get it on.
Paulie, knowing you a while, seeing you fight a little bit, the idea of you fighting the biggest fight of your life in Madison Square Garden of all settings, that has to turn you on like nothing else that's happened in your career so far.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. I mean, you start boxing for these opportunities, and to get a world title fight, still being undefeated, I'm looking forward to winning the title, remaining undefeated for a long, long time. I'm the kind of fighter that steps up to the plate, and June 10th, that's what I'm going to be doing.
But knowing you, Paulie, the way I know you, to tell the viewers, what's more important to you? Have an opportunity to showcase or to win a world title?
For me, I mean, it's a little bit of both, but winning the world title is the most important thing to me because I want to go down in history. My ultimate goal is to be one of the best fighters, to put on a pair of boxing gloves. So winning world titles is definitely a part of that. But a chance to showcase myself in front of the whole world and to prove all the doubters wrong against a fighter that, for the most part, everybody thinks is an elite fighter. And outclassing him is going to put me at that level.
What do you make of this fight so far? It's been pretty even temper. It looks like Mabuza trying to get some power shots in as Vargas steps in with a hook. But Vargas early, kind of in and out kind of movement.
Now it seems like Vargas is getting a little more aggressive. He's staying in there a little more. Early on, it seemed like he was giving a lot of movement. Good body shot.
Yeah, this has been a real good round so far for Vargas.
This is for elimination for the number 2 spot. An opportunity like this don't come along too often. Here you have Vargas, Paulie. This is his 2nd opportunity at 34 years old. What do you make of that?
Well, I think he's showing that he's hungry to get this last chance. I mean, like you said, these opportunities don't come too often. So the fact that he's 34 years old, he realizes this could be his last chance at getting a world title shot. So he knows how much is on the line tonight, and he's fighting like it.
All right, within these 4 rounds, give me a prediction. Who do you think wins?
I like Mabuza's style. I think he's the younger, faster, quicker guy, and I think he's going to pull it out. But don't count Vargas out because he's a hungry guy. But I just like Mabuza overall. I see him fight before, and I'm very impressed with him.
Steve, Vargas has done some nice things. He almost stepped into a straight right hand.
And the nice things have come, Bob, when he's turned aggressive. That's not coincidental.
Round number 4 in the book. So Vargas and Mabuza through 4 rounds of this scheduled 12-rounder. Get a look at the corner of Silence Mabuza and RICARDO Vargas, a veteran of 388 rounds. Now counting these 4, 392. Twice he's challenged for a world championship. He's come up short 2 times. Will the 3rd time be a charm?
Get into your business and get out. Don't stand in there with him.
Round number 5 underway. Bob Papa, Brian Adams, Steve Farhood, and Paulie Malignaggi joins us. And You got the big fight, Madison Square Garden on the 10th. What are the keys for you winning that fight?
Well, I just think you have to be smart. Miguel Cotto has a lot of flaws, and people refuse to see them because they get overhyped by the highlight reel knockouts that he does get. But Miguel Cotto has plenty of flaws, and believe me, June 10th, I'm going to expose every single one of them. There's not one flaw I'm not going to expose on Miguel Cotto. I'm going to beat him that badly. And anybody that wants to laugh about that, anybody that wants to talk about that, just come watch the fight June 10th. I'll laugh last all the time, and I'll continue to laugh last come June 10th.
What do you think the crowd's going to be like?
The crowd is going to be crazy. The crowd is going to be there loud, and that's the way I love it. Whether I get booed, whether I get cheered, I mean, I'm expecting a little bit of both. I can care less. I just love the electricity. I love the electricity in the crowd. As long as there's noise, I'm at my best. It sends like a current electric charge through my body, man. It's like an unexplainable high, really. And I'm looking forward to it, man. And I'm looking forward to putting on the greatest performance of my career, painting my masterpiece on that night.
Steve, it's going to be one of the few times in Garden history that a native New Yorker might not have the full crowd behind him.
That's exactly right. I think of when Davey Moore fought Roberto Duran, and Davey Moore got booed, and he was from the Bronx.
Yeah, and I remember Hamed and Kevin Kelly also.
Same thing, yeah.
Hamed had more people for him.
What a night that's going to be on the Garden, because you're going to have Paulie, who I would think has some Italian fans along the way. Miguel Cotto, who half of Puerto Rico is going to be there, and then you're going to have John Duddy on the card, who brings half of Ireland there. So it's going to be a little crowded in the Garden.
I guarantee you Paulie will get the Irish vote, though.
I like that. I like that.
But Paulie, I have to ask, the biggest question for me, every time you step in the ring, are the hands.
Yeah, and it's definitely a question everybody's entitled to ask, Brian. I mean, you've been through it, so you know, a lot of the advice you gave me, I really kept in mind. You've been through a lot of the same injuries, so you know, I always keep you in mind when it comes to talking about these things. But you know, I've come to the point where it's pretty much healthy, and I didn't feel any pain training for my last fight, during my last fight, or training for this fight so far. So I'm kind of leaving it up to everybody else to worry about that. I don't worry about that anymore because it's really the furthest thing from my mind, especially when I'm training, because I'm very focused on what I have to accomplish, and that's beating Cotto.
That's how it should be.
Steve, what about Mabuza here in this round against Vargas?
Well, this round has gone back to the way it was earlier in the fight, with Vargas kind of jumping in and out. Vargas won the fourth round by being aggressive. He's not being aggressive this round, but I still think he's winning the round. So Vargas showing a little bit of versatility here, winning more than one way.
Yeah, I agree. I think he brought a lot of confusion into the ring with him tonight. And Silence is very confused. He's mixing it up, moving forward, in and out, boxing. I like his performance.
And he might be confusing Mabuza a little bit by switching it up like that also.
So we have 5 rounds in the books, and the confusion of Vargas has silenced Mabuza, at least his power so far. And what we're seeing right now, Steve and Brian and Paulie, is a real veteran. I mean, coming into this fight, 388 rounds. Mabuza, 95 rounds as a professional. Vargas has fought for world titles. He's been in against Jonny Tapia when he was the best in the world. And right now he's using that experience to kind of dictate the terms against a boxer who is definitely stronger than him physically.
Yeah, it's a case of, will the experience of Vargas, as we look at action from round 5, will the experience of Vargas show, or will the youth and freshness of Mabuza show? And so far, I think it's a pretty close fight, but Vargas has a little bit of momentum going. And the left hook, you see it right there, that's been the punch that's landed again and again for Vargas.
Round number 6 underway. Silence Mabuza and Ricardo Vargas at stake, an IBF eliminator. This one's scheduled for 12. No knockdowns, nobody's been hurt.
I hate to sound psychic here, but in the open, I said that experience from his last bout when he was in elimination position will play a big role. He allowed his opponent to outwork him, use the ring, and confuse him. Now he's doing the same thing tonight.
What does Mabuza, and we'll start with you, Paulie Malignaggi, what does Mabuza have to do to get this fight going in his direction?
Well, I just think he needs to keep his composure a little bit. It seems like he's getting confused by Vargas' antics, so to speak, by switching it up. I mean, Vargas sometimes gets aggressive, and sometimes Vargas starts backing up. I think Mabuza just relax a little bit and just see what the openings are and take advantage of them. It seems like he's a little over-aggressive at times and he's walking into punches.
He's got the height. Is he not using his jab enough to control some distance and punching range?
Yeah, I believe so. And also, it seems like he's pushing that jab out there when he does use it. And he really put a little snap on it. It'll set up all the punches if he does it in that way. See, like that. That's a good jab you want. That's the one. That's the jab you want to use against Vargas. And you see how I set up that right hand.
Brian?
I mean, I agree. Good assessment. He has to use a good jab. Don't just flick it out there. And when he get close, know what he want to do. Don't be confused. Know exactly what you want to do when you get there.
And when he stops jabbing is when Vargas is taking advantage of hitting him.
Swelling under both of Mabuza's eyes, something to look for in the second half of the fight. This is a marathon. This is 12.
I just love the work ethic right now of Vargas.
He's fighting like a hungry fighter. Fighting like a fighter that knows it's his last chance.
Both boxers went 12 rounds 2 fights ago. Mabuza defeated Cruz Carbajal in an eliminator, and Vargas lost to the world champion Rafael Marquez in 12.
And if you made a list of the 10 hardest punchers pound for pound in boxing, Rafael Marquez would be on that list, I promise you.
See right there, Silence should never have backed up. He threw a nice combination, landed 3 out of the 4 shots, and he backed up. Stay close, and when you get there, know what you want to do.
Approach the final 20 seconds of this 6th round. Joined by Paulie Malignaggi. Paulie, best of luck on June the 10th against Miguel Cotto, Madison Square Garden.
Thank you, Bob. I appreciate it. And I'll bring back that title to New York.
All right, good to have you with us. Thank you, Paulie.
Always a pleasure.
Coming to the midway point of the bout, Mabuza and Vargas, scheduled for 12. So 6 rounds on the docket. Pretty even fight, depending on your flavor, Steve Farhood.
Yeah,
really
exactly
depending
right.
on your flavor.
Yeah,
I mean, even that last round, you know, it depends on what you like.
I think that was a very close round, the 6th. I have it 3-3. I gave Mabuza the first 3, and I've given Vargas the 3 since.
You and I differ a little bit. I've given Vargas 4 of the 6 rounds. With the first round, nothing going on, and I had that round an even round, which judges don't like to go even. I might be a little more liberal on 10-8s,
Yeah,
no knockdowns, and I'm liberal on even rounds, especially the first round.
But, you know, it's absurd to score around 10-9 where I just barely beat you, and the same 10-9 if I beat you from pillar to post. It's just ridiculous.
Come on, seconds out.
Second half of the bout underway. Round number 7 in this scheduled 12-rounder with Silence Mabuza and Ricardo Vargas in an IBF bantamweight eliminator. Vargas had trouble making weight yesterday. Needed a little over 2 hours to get almost 2.5 pounds off. Oh, Pete Santiago getting on our cameraman. Pete is in control.
Cameraman said, move, Pete. Okay, but the key here for me, what I see here, guys, Silence have to work behind his jab. Use a stiff jab. Because right now, Vargas appears to be in some sort of a rhythm. So work behind the jab. But don't just pull with the jab.
What do you mean by pull with the jab?
Don't pull with the jab, meaning don't just flick it out there. Extend it. Put your shoulder into it.
Something else to look for. Mabuza does have the ability to turn southpaw. He's done that in a few of his fights. Be curious to see if just to change things up if he tries that.
Right hand to the ear landed by Vargas. Mabuza trying to counter, but a hippity-hop style there from Vargas. He's bouncing in and out, and Mabuza can't line him up.
He's in a rhythm. Work your jab. Get him off that rhythm. He's waiting for Vargas to initiate the action before he punches.
Steve, would you call this so far a crafty performance by Vargas?
Yeah, I'm surprised at how he's fought. I thought he'd be much more aggressive. but he does have the ability to fight more than one way. It's been very crafty. Neither guy is the biggest puncher in the world. I think Mabuza might be a slightly harder puncher, but that's one of the problems both of these guys have when they fight Rafael Marquez, who's a brutal puncher. They just can't match him for power. And I've said it a million times, I'm going to say it again when the little guys fight. The biggest misconception in boxing is that guys this size can't punch. Some of the greatest knockout artists in history have come from the bantamweight division. Carlos Zarate, Alfonso Zamora, Ruben Olivares. It's a long list. And the people who think flyweights and bantamweights can't punch, well, they're just wrong. These guys might not be the biggest punchers, but in general, they can punch.
Silence Mabuza just switched southpaw.
On cue, huh?
Another sign of confusion for me.
As if he's searching for something, some combination to get himself going. The question is, how many rounds is Silence Mabuza just letting sift through his hands like sand? Nothing really tremendous is happening, but he is doing the least amount.
Very close this
They're
fight.
trying to hold water.
My brother, with a jab, you're killing him with a jab. You got to use it more. Everything off the jab, Gunza. Don't wait in front of him. Use that jab, baby. It's working every time.
Finish the combination jab. You started jab. Right?
The jab is the key. The jab is the key. Listen to what Colin's even telling you. The jab is the key, baby. You can out-jab this boy. Out-jab. Follow the jab. Follow the jab. The jab is the key.
Second jab.
The jab is the key. Will Silence follow his instructions? Round number 8 underway. Nick Durant telling Silence Mabuza the jab. Guys, we saw it when he used the jab emphatically and he followed up with the right hand. He was able to do some things, but he's just not using it enough.
And I think I can see why, because Vargas is, Bobby called it a hippity hop style. That's perfectly described. It's like he's like a metronome. He's left, he's right, he's left, he's right. You know, where do you jab? I guess in the middle, right?
Just jab straight. When he hop in towards you, he's going to come right into the jab.
Brian, if you were in the ring against a guy of this style, I mean, you just aim for his chest?
Aim for his chest, aim for his shoulders. He has to leap to you. He has to come forward.
Meanwhile, while Mabuza is confused, Vargas digs in and does some work.
Vargas been effective to the body, where Mabuza has almost done no body work in this fight.
And that's a little surprising. You know your opponent had trouble making weights. You know he's 34, and you know he has almost 400 rounds of experience. You would think part of the game plan would be get to the body and let's see what he has left in those legs.
But you would think so. And Nick Durant, I saw him earlier tonight, and he said he didn't think Vargas was weakened by the experience of taking off 2 pounds at the weigh-in. And so far, Nick Durant is right, because Vargas shows no signs of being a tired fighter.
See, that's what I mean, like when I said earlier, when you get there, know what you want to do. Vargas got close, kept his hands free, and he let his hands go and work. Whereas Silence tried to tie him up.
Guys, at least according to my scorecard, through 7 rounds, Mabuza has to get something going in a hurry, because Vargas, at least the way I see it, is just stockpiling rounds here in a very methodical, easygoing fashion based on his terms. It's nothing flashy, but it's effective.
Yeah, he's effectively awkward is what he is, and I still think this fight is going to be won in the last third. Plenty, long way to go here. 5 rounds to go, 4.5 anyway.
I think frustration was set in with Silence Mabuza. There's too much time in between shots. No jab. He should be working the jab.
Those corners told him all the right things.
Yeah, Nick Duran is smart and honest.
He might have to start getting loud through 8. Is it time for the pep talk from Nick Durant?
Yeah, what I'm saying. How you feeling? I'm okay. What are we in the 9th now? 4 to go.
He's moving too much.
Get there, baby, get there. Close that gap and work him, please.
Jab and leaning inside. Jab to body, he leans inside left hook.
Jab, she's a jab there.
Left hook. Jab.
Action from round 8. Couple of low blows and an overhand right. That's a tough combination to defend against. You see whether these left hooks are low. The second one definitely isn't.
All right, second go.
But boy, it's awfully much easier to hit a guy in the head after you've hit him a couple of times to the body.
Pete Santiago said keep him up, but the damage was done. Round number 9 underway. Silence Mabuza and Ricardo Vargas in an IBF bantamweight eliminator. Bob Papa, Brian Adams, Steve Farhood ringside here on Broadway Boxing.
Mabuza do have the power. He does have the power to knock Vargas out if he listens to the corner and work behind his jab.
I just think Vargas is real hard to hit with a jab. You know, his distance is constantly changing. He bends at the knees real well, so he gets low. And your jab can go right over his head or off his shoulder. And he goes side to side well. So I think he's real hard to hit with the jab.
The key to it, an effective jab is to put your shoulder into it and step in. Silence Mabuza, it would serve him well not to step in when he jabs. Stand his ground and just jab. Because Vargas is in and out. So you don't want to step in. When he uses an effective jab, it works.
Vargas down. And I don't know about that. I thought that Mabuza stepped on his foot.
I'm with you, Bob.
And you know, that is huge. We don't, at least I don't have this fight maybe as close as the judges do. And that's huge. That makes this a 2-point round if Mabuza does anything the rest of the way.
Just landed a nice uppercut. But why? He landed a nice uppercut and a nice straight right hand, and he stepped back.
Kind of funny, though, that Mabuza landed his best 2 shots in like 3 rounds right after a questionable knockdown.
Maybe it was real.
He bears the jab.
This is the first time in a while we've seen Mabuza put several punches together. Even if they miss, it sets something up.
Well, maybe he was energized by the knockdown, you know? He might not even know if it was legit or not.
Right hand by Vargas.
And one thing we've said before on this show, the judges have to go by what the referee says. If the judges clearly saw that as a trip or a slip, they cannot score accordingly. They have to go by what the referee says.
But they also have the discretion. If they don't think Mabuza dominated the round, they could make it just a 10-9 round.
And I bet you that's exactly what they do, Bob.
So we have 9 rounds in the book. Silence Mabuza, at least according to the referee Pete Santiago, dropping Ricardo Vargas in round number 9. We're going to take a look at it, see if the feet got tangled up or if it was a knockdown. Vargas throws a right hand. Yeah, look at that. The right foot of Mabuza's foot looked like it was on the left foot of Vargas.
Yeah, it was a combination of that and a punch. You'll see it again.
No.
No, not that. Not from that angle.
No, good job by our cameraman and the guys in the truck, Dan Myers and Jason Vaughn, our director, for getting us a shot. Actually, he never did step on the foot, so it's a good knockdown. Now, obviously, we give Pete Santiago a lot of credit because he saw it without the benefit of our cameras and replays. Round number 10 underway. And if they did score that round 10-8 for Mabuza, suddenly the cards take a different look.
Yeah, that's critical what the judges will decide to do with that round.
They do not have monitors.
Sounds Mabuza's coming out a little aggressive this round.
Fewer punches, though, from Vargas. Maybe, you know, maybe, just maybe, that weight loss as we get later in the fight takes its toll. I haven't seen any signs to date, but we're late now.
Turns 35 in September.
But overall in this bout, Vargas' defense real low.
So now Mabuza will have time to regroup.
Vargas goes right back down to the body.
That's a veteran move, huh? This looks a lot more like the Silence Mabuza of the first 3 rounds when he was the aggressor.
He's working behind the jab.
Probably coincides with the fact that he's been a little bit busier these last couple of rounds.
Mabuza's doing a lot of missing, though. He may be busy, but he's not landing a high percentage.
Right before the low blow, I want to point out that Vargas' defense tonight overall has been deceptively good.
Mabuza's been a little bit busy. I wouldn't call it Ray Oliveira busy, but
Now it appears that Mabuza was in a rhythm this round.
left hand starts Vargas. End of round 10.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
You understand what I want? I want fucking points.
Well,
I want to
Silence
see
Mabuza
speed.
got caught with a low blow in round 10.
That was about an inch or 2 under the P in spice.
There's a lot of ways to go with that, and I will not touch it, Steve.
And Mabuza was really aggressive. Now, here we see him landing some shots. A lot of times during round 10, he was very aggressive and missing shots. But a lot of times, if you just throw enough punches, the judges are going to go with you. And I think that's probably the case in round 10 from Mabuza.
Now the complexion of this bout has changed a little bit. In round number 9, Vargas went down. Questionable knockdown. Our replay showed it was the accurate call by referee Pete Santiago. Did the referees give that round a 10-8 round for Mabuza? Mabuza pretty good in round number 10. Suddenly these cards tightening up, at least ours are.
They have it scored 96-93 in favor of Vargas.
And I have 95-94 from Mabuza. Brian and I disagreeing. Isn't that a rarity?
And I have 96-94 for Vargas with the first round dead even because, in my opinion, nothing happened other than they were introduced and they spent 3 minutes in the ring together.
But we may mention that Silence Mabuza output has went up the past couple rounds. That's the key with someone who's awkward. You just want to throw punches. You throw 10 punches, you're bound to land something. Unless you have a Pernell Whitaker or Willie Pep in front of you.
Vargas ripped the hook to the body.
One thing I know is the past couple rounds, Vargas has stopped with the herky-jerky motion.
Looked like that hook to the body affected Mabuza a little bit.
All the effective body work in this fight has come from Vargas, that's for sure. Said nobody could grab momentum in this fight, really, because Mabuza had some in rounds 9 and 10. And so far, with about a minute to go here, I think Vargas is controlling this 11th round.
You agree, Brian?
Not much going on, but I would say the ring generalship is in favor of Vargas right now, but not much really going on.
Mabuza is allowing Vargas, for the most part in this round, to get inside. He's not making him pay it all.
That's the jab. Nice body shot.
Throwing a forearm as well. Well, Vargas with a better round 11. And an IBF bantamweight eliminator. Mabuza and Vargas. A little disappointing there from Mabuza. His corner felt he gave that round away. He had some momentum going with the knockdown in round 9 and then a good round 10, but he gave it right back to Vargas.
Well, nobody's been able to take control of this fight, and I think whether you think Vargas is ahead or Mabuza is ahead, unless something crazy happens in the 12th, it's a fight where you can make a case for both guys. You take a look at action here from round 11. This is the first time in the fight that Vargas backed to the ropes, and it's really the first time in the fight Mabuza went to the body at all. You see a couple of shots there, but Vargas didn't get overwhelmed here. He sees everything coming, and then he fought his way off the ropes.
It's pretty subtle, Vargas is, with his defense on the ropes. Enough movement to make the guy miss. 12th and final round, Silence Mabuza and RICARDO VARGAS. In an IBF bantamweight eliminator. Vargas dropped in round 9, flash knockdown. Didn't seem to be seriously hurt. It seemed as if he was more off balance than anything else, but it's still a knockdown.
Neither guy coming out like they need this last round.
Steve, you have a dead even now going into this round?
I indeed do, 104-104, and I scored that 9th round 10-8 from Mabuza. It's a little cheating because I had the, the luxury of the replay.
Yeah, you and I both had the same cheat. I have Vargas up by 3, 106-103 with 1 round even.
I have it 106-102 for Vargas. I just think overall Vargas showed the veteranship that he has, 53 bouts, his experience, and ring generalship.
Concerned Mabuza corner. They're disappointed because their man didn't jab enough and was not busy enough. Good left hand by Vargas.
I just look at it as one guy having a solid game plan, another guy don't. And that one guy will be Vargas.
Mabuza really not able to make the necessary adjustments, and his corner told him all the right things, Stephen Bryan, but he just, in the ring, didn't seem to be able to pull the trigger at times.
Well, let me try to sell this to you guys, and you tell me if you're buying. There are fights sometimes where you have one guy 3 or 4 points ahead, and if it goes to the other guy, you think it's a robbery. If this goes to Mabuza, would you call it a robbery?
No, but I'd be disappointed.
Okay.
I would be disappointed. Depends on what the numbers are, too. I mean, if they have it like 118, 111, then it's a robbery. But you can see 1 point either way. Even with the first round I had even, you give that to Mabuza, and suddenly your numbers look a little different.
Both guys been pretty busy for a 12th round here. I'm going to give the round to Vargas so far, though.
Vargas will land a nice overhand right, short left hook. But the corner has told Silence Mabuza the right instructions. But sometimes as a boxer, you have in your mind it's going to go a certain way, and you forget about what the corner is telling you once you get in there.
Sometimes it's easier said than done, too, huh, Brian?
Exactly.
Great finish.
Excellent performance from Silence Mabuza and Ricardo Vargas in an IBF bantamweight eliminator. 12 hard rounds, pretty close fight. Vargas dropped in the 9th. But Brian, you and I kind of in agreement that Vargas, for the most part, did the better work, controlling the tempo.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 rounds of boxing, we go to the judges' scorecards. But first, a round of applause for the fighters. Judge Sparkle Lee has it 120-107. Judge Luis Rivera has it 117-110. And Judge Steve Weisfeld has it 117-110. The winner, by way of unanimous decision, and now the #1 ranked IBF bantamweight contender, Silence Mabuza.